Advisory Advantage. Your monthly podcast to cut through the noise and unpack real advisory. Deep dive into what's actually working for accountants to move beyond the traditional and into true strategic impact. No fluff, no jargon, just practical, actionable strategies you can use right now.
Welcome to the Advisory Advantage podcast with AccountantsDaily. Joining me will be Noel Tiufino from My Accounts, who will be helping me host and enjoying a good conversation today about the $45,000 wake-up call for accountants.
I love that. Very specific number. I really like that as well. But firstly, thanks for having me. As always, I love having these chats. $45,000, mate. Intriguing.
There's a clear story about that.
Yeah, tell me.
We'll get to that in a minute. I want to catch up first.
Okay, go.
We've had a couple of events.
There's a lot's happened.
Yeah, there's had a couple of events. And this is where the stories come out of. So We'll backtrack first with the Accounting Awards Friday night.
Yep.
Very proud. We had a couple of winners from
Huge
Leaders in
wins.
Business, which
Huge
was cool.
wins.
We were
Yeah.
excited, and lots of nominees.
Yep.
I saw you presenting on the stage too.
Thank you. Yep. And I think we have to give a shout out to our good friend Natalie Lennon for taking out the big award, the Thought Leader of the Year. Well deserved.
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Nat.
Nat's a star. She
Yep.
deserves it.
For
She's done
sure.
a lot for us. Her and Sarah, I think
Yeah,
it's great. It's great. So last three winners, last three winners with Heather. So they're legends and do a lot. So
Yeah, it was an awesome night, man.
it was a very good night.
Yeah.
So lots of fun. But the night before, we went to one of your places, the Press.
The Press, yeah.
Very nice place.
Yeah, it was good, strict dress code, but I think all of our guests got in.
Yeah, I was hiding my little presses on my buttons so they didn't see they were denim. But
And no rip denim as well.
that was
man,
a beautiful place.
Yeah,
but
it was
put
nice.
on by another great partner and friend of ours, Taryn Holman from Seamless.
Mate, one of the best.
One of the best.
If not the best.
Yeah,
we were talking.
We should get her on at some
Yeah, we
stage.
should, yeah.
But this is where this conversation come from, because I was talking to one of Taryn's clients and a friend of ours, no names in this one, but he was talking to me and telling me a story about he just walked out of a meeting with a client who just paid
Was it that Arvo?
that afternoon at that place. The
I
Press
thought he
Club.
looked a little.
Yeah, he was phased.
Yeah.
And then I was phased. So it was pretty big. So what it was, and this is the preface of today, and what we want to dig into, maybe the things sitting behind this.
Yeah.
So what the story was, his client had just told him he just paid $45,000 up front for coaching services for the next 12 months.
Okay. And so this person is an accountant.
He's an accountant
So who did the client pay that $45,000 to?
to a coach.
Not
Okay,
an accountant.
Not an accountant.
Okay.
So he said, okay, I need some help with my business. And he's paid them up front $45,000. Now, we got talking about what did they get sold on.
That's a lot of capital up front, man.
That's a lot of
For a
trust.
small business.
Yeah.
Just to dish out 45. Like I'm trying to think what other professional service would you pay 45 up front for,
Yeah.
There's not many.
$700,000 they turned over the business.
No.
So you're talking more than 5%. Yes. So
I didn't
yeah, that was just I just remembered that now. Like, so quite astonishing, really. And for me, the upfront bid got me, and just the willingness to get help. Like, I need help. I'm willing to. If someone's positioned themselves right, then I'm willing to pay it.
That's like I don't know who the person is that got paid, but like that feels wrong-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends, right? Like, it's all about value and what's perception of value. And I think what the thing was most difficult to comprehend is we broke down what it was. I said, what are they actually getting for that? And the way they
fair.
explained
Better
it
question. Yeah, good.
was dashboards.
Okay.
Dashboards.
Okay.
And they actually used the word Fathom. So, getting access to financial.
Great software.
Great software. Fantastic
Yeah.
software. But what that made it even worse is this is in the wheelhouse of an accountant. Like,
So what's the 45 for?
so, well, lots of things, I suppose, like reassurance, hope.
Oh, mate.
I mean, they must break that down and give some sort of some direction. But what it left is a very sour taste in his mouth, because he had a chat with his client. He said, you know what? Once he understood what he perceived to be the engagement, he's like, I can do this,
Yeah.
And it really got me again clearly thinking of that. There's something we need to unlock here.
I assume there's no like takesies backsies on the 45.
No,
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if they sold it as sold an accountant a tax deduction.
cooling off period?
Yeah.
Well, nothing.
I think that's what it is. So I thought there's a bit to unpack in this. So I wanted to sort of break down what's today, what sits behind that, and some of maybe the thoughts and the feelings and emotions that go through an accountant to understand themselves better, to be able to say, hey, clients are willing to pay.
Yep.
And we often don't position ourselves to know that we can do these things firstly, or then have the confidence to go and ask for it as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things there. So we've talked a lot about the structure and the processes and pricing and packaging. That is always relevant. But today I want to break down a few other areas that I think
we should get that person on the potty and just be like, mate, talk me through the 45. You know what I mean?
Both. Yeah, we could do that.
Because I mean, look, maybe I'm being biased here. Because if you were to tell me, hey, Noel, like I signed this client up 45. Well, it's different because I think I know you deliver value. But if you were to tell me, hey, I got 45, I'd be like, high five. I'm like, great job, mate. Yeah. But again, that's because I know what the service you're delivering and what then the value you bring and the output. But then again as well, I don't think you'd be offering 45 to someone who turns over 700.
Yeah, like to me, like talking to a numbers person, working backwards from the return on investment on that, it's like there must be a clear goal.
Clear path, yeah.
If we double this, that's if we double your business in the next 12 months.
Double the business, yeah.
Double the business in the next whatever,
yeah, okay.
Then is that worth $45,000 too? Like that's a discussion to be had.
Yeah.
Now, if they're able to communicate that in a clear way, then of course that's going to get people who are ambitious, hungry, want to grow fast, all those sorts of things.
I'll give them a pair of socks, mate. Like I'll throw it in.
Hey, I thank you for your pair of socks.
Right. Are you wearing them?
I haven't got them on, but I brought them.
And I get shout out to the Knicks.
The Knicks, yes. I looked for my Knicks hat, actually. I could have wore a Knicks hat today. I was actually in New York in this season, and my son was telling me that the Knicks have one of the best teams in it, and I was surprised because I knew they hadn't won it for 50 years, and they went and won it. So pretty.
Sorry for the for the distraction there, but I did watch the game. And then you can shout out to the Socceroos too.
Mate.
Too many things.
How good's that?
I know. Too many things. Look, I'll bring it back around.
I love the Socceroos.
I'll bring it back around. So, where could the conversation, how or where could the conversation have gone with the accountant to have maybe gotten their foot in the door first to provide some sort of equivalent service or something like that?
Yeah, look, I think it goes before the conversation. Like I think where an accountant gets themselves ready to be able to offer something like that, that feels like a lot even from an advisory package. So you've got to have yourself set up for that. But at least starting to ask those questions to the client saying, what's your ambition, what's your goals, where do you want to be, those sorts of things are going to certainly broaden the scope of saying, you don't want to sit still here, you want to skyrocket to the moon. How are you going about doing that? So I think those discussions still lead into that conversation. But I think the most telling comment is in that conversation that got me was, I didn't know that you did that.
The client said
it to the accountant. I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me because it's like, I understand that, the tax and compliance of work is done, and that's what the engagement usually is for, and it's very important. But of course, more can be done.
Yeah.
But often, we don't position ourselves in that right place.
There's only so many things you can kind of whack on the website and assume, or even like, if you had a separate document, or from my perspective, I try and keep my engagement letters pretty low the fewer barriers to entry, the fewer information without losing any of the important stuff. I try and keep it quite concise, right? Because you don't want to have to be flipping through stuff. But then absolutely in those situations it's like, well, Shiva, should I have included here's what else we can do, but then
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I mean, I think that's great advice, Noel. I think it's really important to be clear on what you're offering as your core offering.
Yeah.
And clearly at this point, this accountant hadn't broadened although he had the capability, he hadn't put himself open for business in this place yet. So therefore, his client didn't know that he could do it, and maybe he didn't quite have the process behind to do it. But I think that there's definitely a decision to be made before you just start going, hey, we can offer you $45,000. That's quite nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that pressure to say, hey, we can do that. Imagine he said, hey, we can do that for 40, and then he comes across and says, okay, let's go.
And you can afterpay it or something.
Yeah.
No. Hey, our friend Brucey, put it through.
Quickly.
Put it through the quickie.
Yeah.
And
put it through the quickie.
and
love Brucey. That's a good. So I think that's the thing. And that might happen where the client swivels around and says, "Okay, can you help me with that then and do it for less because I trust you, and I know that you're not going to rip me off, or I know at least I'm going to get
He's a trusted advisor.
We're trusted. So,
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. I think there's certainly some work to be done if you're going to, in the preparation of putting yourself out there, is to be able to say, okay, we want to do this. And the thing is about this accountant that we're talking about, he's already going down this path. Already does this stuff.
He's pretty good.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Like he's a gun, and he already does a lot of this work. So I think that's what the bad taste there was. But anyway, it's something which I think is worth breaking down, because I think what sits behind that is a lot of fear that sits with the clients, with the accountants, even guilt. There's a lot of guilt that sits in what you think you could be doing. Yeah,
I'm trying to think from a bookkeeping perspective. It's interesting because it's one of the things that everyone kind of needs, but you got to be there when the need arises. Like someone doesn't always need a book, as in the opportunity to win that work is a pretty narrow window. That's why I kind of have to be at every event, but in everything, because I'm just front of mind. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah,
I find you. But so I guess it's that kind of thing. So did this person, the accountant, was he as how do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Timing, timing's. That's what marketing's about, is making sure you're front of mind and being, when I do need that problem, I know where to go to get it.
Hence the LinkedIn spams, apologies audience.
Which we all cop, right? But people know where to go if they've got bookkeeping issues. It's like Noel's front of mind.
Yeah.
So it just so happens that, this coach was front of mind when the need was there.
Yeah.
But I didn't start with something that I wanted to talk to you about, which I think is really important to this, relevant to this conversation right now, is I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I know off camera I came in and I was like, I don't know why I'm got lots of energy.
You know why? It's advisory time.
It's
advisory time, and I'm telling you,
set that up real well.
Mate. Wrong way around. Let's put this back at the front because it is. The last 3 months, everyone's been working their butt off. Year end, finishing off month end, in accounting,
budgets and planning,
strategy. Tax planning is advisory, right?
Yeah,
advisory time. So it's been such hard work, and even now, there's many still finishing off the year, getting their lodgements finished and all that sort of thing. But just starting to pop up a little bit now.
There's a couple thoughts have been like, how do I do this?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we're a week or month before, it's just like, I can't even speak to you just yet.
Yeah.
But coming back to your point on timing is everything, right?
Yeah.
It is seasonal when you can go through these waves of things, and we can't control when the client has a need, but we do know when people start to think a little bit differently, and we know that at the start of a financial year, we even start to think different about our own business, going, hey, okay, what do we want to achieve for this year?
Yep.
And we're a business owner ourselves, so that's what our clients are thinking as well. What can I do? What can I achieve? So it's advisory time, and that's the time, and now's the time to be able to start to think about your engagements with clients in 2027.
It's kind of like spring carnival, but it's winter. But
same level of excitement. Actually, probably I'm a little bit more excited about advisory. I think. Like, you know me. Maybe not you, but I am.
I can feel it's palpable. I know that everyone listening here, I wish you could feel it. It's electric in here. It is. But for you, would you say from May? Because internally we send a budget and cash flow, and it's from a data point of view, because we like to work with the accountants we say, look, we'll get some data together for you to have that conversation.
That's awesome.
So we don't position ourselves as the coaches or the advisors. We position ourselves as the experts with the data to put it and to present it in a way to both the client and the accountant.
Awesome.
So we do that from May, June, but we kind of want it done by June, really, so that they're having those conversations already. Is that about the window you think, or what do you reckon?
It's really good. That's great proactive accounting. You want to have your budget set before 1 July, of course.
Yeah.
So having those conversations in May is really important. And again, we try to arm our advisors up to that's why tax planning is so important, because it rounds off the year before, and it sets up the year in advance. So our agenda for tax planning is getting longer and longer, because it's starting to talk about all things.
Yeah.
But certainly, we start the tax planning season from 1 April.
Okay.
So as soon as that quarter finishes, we start to do the prep work, forecast the rest of the year, the guys, and then start to use that as okay, let's book in a whole heap of meetings. So we've got lots of time.
Yeah.
But then the agenda is certainly about what are if we're doing CFOs, the budgets need to start to get done. That's exactly the right thing, Noel. But most importantly, what is it that you're trying to achieve next year? And right now, even as much as 2 days ago, I'm sitting down with the advisory team and talking about breaking down the proposal. Okay, the proposal is a communication. Okay, it's the most important communication you can have with your client, and engagement. That engagement you can have with your client, because it's an opportunity to reset what you've done. And so what better way to say to your client at the start of the year, saying, hey, what is it that you want to achieve this year? What are you trying to get out of your year? Tell us your goals and plans. Yeah. And we can talk about how we can mold our offering around that.
Well, you mentioned that meeting is getting, there's lots of things to discuss in that meeting. So for your team members, how do you go about like planning the time availability or the capacity to be able to have that? Because I mean, presumably they're already quite busy doing, looking after the clients already, and then saying, all right, well, we need to block out 4 hours for the meeting, let alone the prep and then the post. How do you go about managing that capacity for that?
Yeah, so we have a strong client services team that looks after the administration side of things, so does the preparation of these proposals and that pre-work. But isolating time in the calendar to be able to make sure that they're making time and space to be able to reach out to clients. Yeah. And literally coaching these guys to say, trying to get their head around that the clients want to hear from you. Yeah. Okay. They really want to hear from you. I agree. They're open at this point in time, and although they're busy, they still want to hear from you, and they appreciate that you're being proactive. Yeah. Because it shows that you care, even if they're at a busy stage or a busy part of their day, and you reach out to them. It's important that you do that. Yeah. And then have the conversation with them. Is now a good time to talk? Just want to talk to you about our proposal, what we're going to do for you this year. Yeah. And if it's not, then just say, that's cool. Can we grab you in the next day or two or whatever? Yeah,
I don't think I've had I'm trying to think through, it's many years, but I don't think I've had the complaint of, can you ease off on the, if anything, I've had the where I is.
Let's talk about this. This is really important, because I literally talk to accountants every day, and they talk about not wanting to hassle their clients and worried that, they're so busy. Giving them something new is a fear.
The worst thing that will happen, if you can get past this, I have a bit of a sales front, so I guess I'm pretty used to it. The worst that'll happen is they'll ignore the email or the call or whatever, because they're busy or whatever. And I think if you're fine with that, that's fine. But I don't think it's like they're going to call me like, how dare you email or call me or reach out to check in? How dare you? They will if you've gone ghost protocol, like if you've, you know what I mean? Ooh. Like I haven't been able to get you, or I haven't been able to get your team member, Brent, where is so-and-so, you'll definitely get that call, but you're not. I haven't had it the other way.
Your call might be an ethical letter. You might be saying, hey, 100%. Guess what? Because in this example we're talking about before, there was a need and time, and when that client was thinking about I need some help, they went to sort of coach, and you want to be that person that's front of mind. So being able to break through a barrier and saying, you know what, I've got to make it feel normal that I'm going to reach out to a client and have this proactive and discussion with them about how am I going to help you this year. It is the best thing that you can do.
100%.
And have then the basic simple process to talk about, make it about them. Okay, if you don't make it about yourself and don't think about what you're trying to do, difficult for some. That's the thing, right? The fear comes from what I think is that there feels like there's a hidden agenda about I'm really trying to give you a strategy session or whatever it might be. It's like no. The learning here is that you're going with care and curiosity and real, just trying to say, hey, what do you want? And bring in the facts about where they are in their life. You're looking to grow. You're at 50 now. Have you got a retirement plan? What keeps you up at night? What are these things that are really bothering you?
If you're scared about it, maybe say, look, at the end of the meeting, go, did you get any value out of this? And if they say no, be like, okay, I'll give you, I won't charge you. Yeah. I cannot think of a time when they'd be like, you know what, I've got absolutely zero value out of this.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of positioning it, isn't it? Because you're saying, let's have it, and you decide afterwards if it was valuable or not. Yeah. Because there is it's a whole other conversation, I suppose, but how do you package and price that is a real worry.
Yeah, and then you go, how valuable?
Yeah, how valuable? $45,000 valuable, thanks.
Yeah.
But doesn't that stretch your mind? Up front, like now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was cash, but it was upfront.
Just on the Amex.
Yeah, just on the Amex. So it is important to have these discussions because they're real and they swirl around in all our people's head. But I think that's the most important thing is that if our clients aren't being asked these questions, then they're most likely being asked them by somebody else.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we're at least positioning ourselves and preparing ourselves, if you're going down this advisory route, to be able to be the person they think about when they have a need, when that timing kicks in.
I'm not sure if we're rehashing a point here, but I think it's more like I think in my experience onboarding new clients, when you ask, and I often ask about the previous management, not necessarily to throw stones or anything like that. It's just to get an idea on, say, the cadence of work and things like that. But it's often not the competency, but communication. And in Sydney at least, I generally have the assumption, I assume competence. You're a CA, you're a CPA, you've been practicing for 10 plus years. I think you can, I'm not going to go, hey, can you do the job?
Yeah.
I'm going to assume you can do the job.
Yeah.
But how do I know that? If maybe, I don't know, you take my call, what are my indicators? And I think it's that availability and making you feel trusted. But I think generally it's the complaints that I've gotten about other providers have been more communication based than there have been. I'm not saying that there hasn't been competence issues, but it's been more about communication than it has been about competency.
100%. I think I've read along the way, accessibility, which is lack of communication, is the number one killer of an engagement.
Yeah.
Right. So, there's two things swirling around what you just said. New clients, we seem to be able to win a new client, and what you're looking for in a new client engagement is a fit. So you get your fit and you feel good. Okay, this is a fit. And what we've learned from working with our members is that we feel really good about offering all the clients the box and dice with a new client. We feel really good about it. In fact, let's sit down. Our process is to run a strategy session, and we're going to take you through a process. We're going to understand your goals and all that sort of stuff. No problem. Feel confident and willing to take the risk on a new client.
Yep.
It's the old ones where there's a real struggle.
Yeah.
Right. And a real fear and worry and concern of And I'll share with you some of the things. One of the biggest ones they say to me, and it's true, and I believe it, is I'm worried that they're going to turn around and say, "Why haven't you offered this to me before?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's interesting, right? And this comes up over and over and over again. So this is not just one person. This is 20, 30 people. So overcoming that is big. That shows how much we fear. I think there's a lot of. To me, I think there's a lot of guilt sitting with the accountant, worrying about what they could have done, and therefore now they're worried that I should have done something before instead of what they can do in the future.
I think sales is potentially a dirty word, or sometimes perceived as a dirty word. I'm very comfortable with it, but and people will often say, "Oh, I'm just not salesy" or whatever. But Daniel Pink, I think it is Daniel Pink, "To Sell is Human."
Yes.
He wrote a book called "To Sell is Human," and just talking about kind of as business owners particularly, or as firm owners, or someone aspiring to be, you do end up wearing your role, your business on your sleeve. It's to sell is human. It's part of you, and for all my sins, I think people look at me like, oh, that bloke sells bookkeeping, so it's a little less about having to do a hard sell, but kind of that being there consistently. But I think there is inherently some sort of fear about being salesy, and I can understand that you don't want to be salesy, and there's a skill to come across natural and not too pushy and things like that. But perhaps we're too far the other way and not wanting to have the conversation in fear of being salesy. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Nobody. There's a saying that Marley says when we do our training, and she says that people hate being sold to, but they love to buy.
Yeah,
people love to buy.
I love to buy.
So so it's just about getting just to go through words we've used today. The fit is got to be right. So you don't go in the fear of the used car salesman is that you're going in too early for the kill.
Yes.
Right. So coming and walking in saying you need a car. This one's for you. Make sure you get it.
Coming in a little hot.
Coming in hot, right?
Yeah.
Whereas what the way to be able to have these conversations is just to have a million questions to see if there's a fit. So how are you going? What are you trying to do? What are your goals for next year? What's your plan for next year? Are you trying to grow your business? What are you trying to understand? And just listen to the client. Ask. Once that's the curiosity, right? That's
Yes.
genuine 100% curiosity. All you're doing in that situation is listening to see if there's anything there that you think that could be valuable that you could help them with.
Yeah.
And if there's not, then you're just listening and observing and saying, that's great, I'm going to capture that information. Let's just take that along and we'll see how we go and we'll check back in on that next time we catch up. But often, and let's go back to this example before, you get this example of someone saying, you know what, we're really wanting to grow this business. We want it in the next 5 years. We want to see this triple or quadruple in the next, but we don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
The alarm bell's got to go off and say, okay.
Yeah.
So what are you doing about that? Like, who's helping you with that? We're just doing it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a natural introduction, an invite to say, well, hey, why don't we sit down and see if we can work this out?
Yep.
Let's spend a bit of time. Let's go through and do a bit of analysis, and then we'll work out if we can do something, which that's naturally going to take its course because we've actually gone and asked all these questions to see if there's a fit. And in this example, there's a fit.
Yeah.
There's a fit maybe 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5. It's not every single one. So, but what is every single one is just the care and curiosity.
Yeah.
How you going?
I think as soon as they're in the room, I think there's almost an implicit ability to be like, hey, I'm here for you. Like they're here to listen.
Yeah.
So the example I've written down is, and it's potentially a little obscure, but early 90s, there was a movie called Glenn Ross, starring a young Alec Baldwin. And the ABCs, always be closing. That's where it's from that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and he comes in hot, like, and he's lecturing these these real estate salesmen on how to close. But one of the points he makes with a lot of profanity is they're there. They've walked in to so what's the fear? Like they're there. And I would say similarly, if they're in your office and they've taken the time, what are you being hesitant about? Like what are you not offering?
Yeah.
They're there, mate.
That's right.
Like
think of it like a shop. They're in your shop.
Yeah.
So
they can leave.
Ask the questions.
Yeah,
They've walked in.
Yeah, they've walked in.
And so it's important to, absolutely. That's
So Alec Baldwin ripped him.
Did he?
Yeah, you got to watch it.
So what did he do?
It's just like I don't think the language would fly.
But was he successful or not successful? Like,
yeah, he was successful in razzing them up a little bit and getting up them. But I don't think that strategy is. But it was interesting. This is the point that he made is that they're there, and if you're not converting, that's a you problem. Yeah. That's kind of the point he was making. Yeah. Strongly.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good point. And again, Marley does touch on that when they enter your shop, they're there. So don't go for the sell, go for the question.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Exactly.
What are you up to?
Yeah.
And look for the fit.
Yeah. They'll tell you. They'll tell you exactly what they need, and you just go, oh, cool, I can do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So there is often so that's the biggest concern we have is that question about would you what if they ask me that question about why haven't you done this before? So let's try to break down that question a little bit. I want to sort of work through that as an example about what could you say if a client says that, because this specific question comes up way too much.
Yep.
Right. So the scenario is client comes in and you've been doing some upskilling. You've got some process now in your business. You've invested yourself into some advisory training, some structure, some processes, some systems, some tools. You've got it there, right? So naturally, you want to try out the new toy.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
You want to try
the
it
new
out.
But
But then the client comes in.
But they're there.
They are, well, in this case,
online or
they're probably at a point of trying to, because what we talk about is like who you identify as opportunities that you may go and approach, right? So that is going to the next level. But so they're not necessarily there, but even just starting a conversation with a client is as being blocked because of the concern of them saying, why haven't you offered this to me before? Like, you're offering this to me now, but you're not offering it to me before. And I'm like, there's a few things in that I want to break down.
Okay.
I think the first thing is that the fear in that comes from ourselves, not the client, right? So that's where I talk about we feel a bit guilty. Like for me, when I was a young advisor, I felt guilty.
Last year? Or?
Well, strapping. Maybe I should say young. Now I'm just an advisor. But back then, I carried a lot of guilt thinking that I knew I could do more for my clients, but I couldn't quite get to them. So okay. I had this thing. I'm like, I look at them like, I can see why you went and got that Coke because I haven't reached out to you. So then you carry this guilt with you as an accountant because you're so busy all the time.
Yeah.
But if you can get yourself organized and then you are going to take this next step and you're like, okay, let's go out there now and put ourselves out there because we've got this structured and we're ready to go. We've got to let go of the past of what that was. Maybe we could have asked them in the past, but we didn't because we're at a different point. But we're evolving with the times, right? The place is moving. We know that clients need more help than anything. So we have now upskilled, or at least invested in systems, processes, a platform to help us help you more.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Do you think a client, like let's say you haven't asked them, say, to do a strategic planning session before, for whatever reason, and then you then proactively reach out and said, you know what, I just wanted to offer, like if this is something that you wanted, do you think that they would be like they would grill you on why you haven't offered that before?
Look, I honestly don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I just don't, but that's definitely the biggest fear.
Yeah.
Well, one of the biggest fears.
And it's okay. So let's say they do say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, it's exactly that. It's saying, listen, look, if you did say like, why haven't you offered this before? It's because I don't think we were ready before.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a humility in that. You know?
Yeah.
It's nice.
We weren't quite ready. Like we're focused on what mattered at that point the most, tax and compliance, which is brilliant, right?
Yeah.
And we still do that very well. But what we're seeing now is there's more help needed in clients' businesses, and we want to help clients with their business. So we continue doing the tax and compliance very well, but now we've set ourselves up to help you with these things that we want to help you with your business.
I'm liking that.
Yeah,
like as a business owner, like I'm liking the humility and saying, look, I'm there, and I think you want the people around you to be growing.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm stoked when people around us, mates and other business owners are winning. Like, is there anything better? Like that's the whole point. Like we're all winning together.
It is, yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, like you're progressing, sick. And so now I can too. This is good. Like,
yeah, that is.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm buying what you're selling. Whatever you're selling, I'm buying.
I'm in. We're in it together.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also they're paying attention, right? Like I've seen you struggle, say, just you can be specific maybe. Yeah. I've seen you struggle over the last few years and I have felt a little bit guilty that I haven't been able to help you more. So I wanted to upskill, wanted to get ourselves ready and organise so we can get you going. And then now I feel really confident to give us a go.
To use another sporting analogy, because again, World Cup's on, like the best coaches, I think, like say let's take, Ange Postecoglou, the one of the best Australian managers ever. He's gone and done. He goes and sees your Pep Guardiola's and he goes and sits in there and listens to other coaches coach.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, like I liked that, and he brings it back and then goes and wins the Europa League with Tottenham or whatever. So, what outstanding humility, but everyone does it.
Yeah.
Like in that sphere.
Yeah, that's.
And I know that in accountants. And we know from our communities, we're pretty open to share. Like, hey, what's working for you, what's not. I don't know any accountant that wouldn't say, if you went to them and said, hey, like, I don't know how to have this convo. I don't know any accountant who wouldn't say, I do it like this.
Yeah.
So then and then similarly, so then if the client goes, hey, so then I go, look, I went and spoke to this other accountant and so I spent a lot of time and then I've researched and I've got this friend. I think that's awesome. Like as a business, I'd be like, oh, like you went out non-chargeable time. You're working on your offering. You're working on your business. I think that's
upskilling your team. So it's not just me you can get hold of. You can get hold of the team. Like I think it's a really important and powerful thing to do. So overcoming that. You're right. Like I believe at this stage of, and maybe I reckon this might be another topic for maybe next one. I think there's more clients now than there are accounts available. That's my view, and I think that's right. Yeah. I think that's right. Well, I haven't got the facts to specifically back that up, but so therefore, instead of back in the day where we want to be chasing as many clients as we can. Now it's being more selective with our clients, and client selection, I think, is the biggest challenge we have right now. And I think if we can get hold of that,
you were saying fit before, right?
It's coming back to that fit, and I think we assess new ones better. Like coming in, do I like them or not, or whatever. And I'm fast tracking that conversation. There should be a very strong process on the way in, which I think we're better at generally. Yeah. But we haven't gone back and seen if our existing clients are still a fit and how we work those out. And just by taking on more and more all the time, something's going to break. You can't possibly do all of this work and get yourself ready and prepared and organised to do the advisory work if you want to. So there has to be some sort of client selection done at some point and a repurposing of saying, is these clients still good at want to work with me, or are they best suited somewhere else? So then I can work with the clients who I know I can help
Yep.
in the areas I want to help with, which is the compliance, the accounting and budgets and financial management, and the strategy and advisory.
Are we talking about this, or are we jumping? Are we saving
No,
that for the
I think
next
we're just
body?
opening up. That I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got a piece to write on that,
Yeah,
and I
okay.
think we might open that up as the next one because it's huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's the final point there where to wrap this up. The overarching thing, and I think hopefully we've been able to break down, is some of these biggest fears of being forthright in being able to have these conversations with clients. And therefore, if you do go through the time to invest and upskill and invest in the tech to help with this sort of work, there's no shame in going to tell your client that you've actually done it, right?
Yeah.
You've done it. And we've done it for you and others who we watch and observe all the time, and we've got ourselves organised for that. And I think that's a really lovely thing. So now hopefully you've got that as a backup, so you've got something really honest and humble to be able to say to your client. And if you're thinking about doing this sort of work, that's a reason to do it, as well. So if you those two minds, because coming back to the very opening where we said that opportunity, and it's only one opportunity, this guy's a legend, he's going to get more. But it's about, we want our clients to know to come into our shop and we're open for business in the areas that we want to work in. And we're talking about advisory. So we want to get that process right, that structure right, so we can package it and then we can be selling. And that's, that's the way, but helping our clients with their business and packaging it up and getting paid for it, because we deserve to be paid 100%. For our work.
And I want to celebrate with our little community, our industry, and I want to, like, at the next thing just be like, oh, I want this. I'll be like, yeah,
absolutely.
Like, let's drink to that, like, nothing gets me excited than just everyone winning, that's the best.
Winning is great. And I think we all get a buzz out. I think when you talk to your client, that's the reason why we do it. We want to see our clients have a win.
100%.
That's what we are generally motivated by as an industry.
Yeah.
So, let's do it. Now it's time for our game changer giveaways, Noel. So, a couple of things which we do here is we'd always love to give someone, you guys, a couple of things to take away. We don't want to leave you high and dry. The first thing I wanted to be able to make you aware of, we do have some dates coming up for our training. As I said before, it's advisory time.
Yep.
So in July, August and September in Melbourne, Sydney and Queensland, we have dates going up to say, hey, if you're ready to take the plunge and want to broaden your skills, there's some dates released now, which is really exciting. Our readiness scorecard always is there. So again, to be able to get a bit of feedback and guidance, there's a quick 2-minute quiz to see if you're ready for your advisory. We've had over 100, we might even be up to 200 people doing that now. It's a fantastic bit of data coming back and will give you back the information you will find where some of the gaps are in your business.
Yep, love that.
What I'll preface that is, guess what?
What?
No, we're never ready, right? So it is about just getting started.
But
it will tell you some of the areas in which
just start. When do I start?
Well, mate, start now. But what we will provide you with is a little bit of a top 10 client audit checklist. And we want to be able to get you to be able to have a look at your clients and go to your 10 longest standing clients. We'll give you a bit of a checklist to this and just ask these sorts of questions. Again, these are the sort of questions that will come for a client. So questions such as, have I ever asked about my top 10 clients about their goals before?
I like it. I like this. I want this list.
Do I know what keeps them awake at night? Have I asked that question? So do I know if they're paying anyone else for advice? Have I discussed anything beyond compliance in the last 12 months?
Yeah, okay. Yep.
And would they know I can help them strategically? So giving yourself a bit of a rating out of 5 on those things in an honest way.
Yeah.
And ticking that off is just a bit of a self-review, and maybe that's might start to see if you're doing and asking these things, because if you're not, that might say you're in more risk of that client looking elsewhere to get some help. So that's going to be a bit of a checklist which we're going to provide to you too.
Yeah, hook me up too.
Hook you up.
I want that list.
Click on the link.
All right.
So there'll be a link in the podcast. But otherwise, thank you for listening and thank you for the podcast, Noel. Fantastic. Thanks to have you.
No, that was I always feel like I've got the front row seats to do a really epic show. Like this is good.
Mate, we're only warming up, aren't we?
Yeah,
we are only
bring
warming
on the
up.
next.
Yeah, bring on the next. But thank you for listening to the Accountants Daily podcast, and we look forward to you downloading this episode on the Accountants Daily app or the website But otherwise, Noel, thank you for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
And we look forward to seeing this come to life and the next session.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.